everyone. I'm going to be speaking today about the second half of January and the new moon that we have coming up in Aquarius on the 29th. Energy moving very quickly now and will continue to do so this year and ongoing. It's something we're going to have to get used to, and that's partly because linear time is dissolving. We're moving into a much more multi-dimensional sense of ourselves, and that gives a feeling of speeding up. So as things speed up, you slow down. Bare feet on the earth, bare feet on the grass, breath work, candle gazing, being in nature, anything just to slow your system down, because this can really jazz up our nervous system. And so it's very important that we book those stillness meetings with ourselves and just whoomph, we come back to the breath, we come back to the heart. So a lot to say here. I'm going to start really on the 15th and 16th of January. And I've mentioned in previous videos that Mars is in a very strong position. Yes, it's in Cancer, but it's very strong because it's retrograde, which means it's much closer to the Earth. In fact, on the 15th and 16th of January, it's going to be at its closest point to the Earth in its orbit on this cycle, and it's opposing the Sun. It is also out of bounds and therefore expressing in a more extreme way until the 7th of April. So this is a strong Mars, and it's hot. Mars in myth is god of war. It's aggression. It rules Aries, primal fire. So it's a very ardent Mars. So we will see what unfolds. The day I'm filming this, which is the 13th of January, there has just been a very large earthquake. It's been reported 6.8 to 6.9 on the coast of Japan, southeast coast, and there's a tsunami warning as well. So that's a very big earthquake. I don't know if there are casualties involved at this time. It's literally just happened before I started to film. So yeah, we will send prayers to anyone who's involved in that. But coming back to Mars, it will remain at its closest point until the 17th of the month, but it's particularly strong from on the 15th and the 16th when it's opposing the Sun. On the 19th and 20th, it will be conjunct the US Mercury. And the chart I'm using for the US is 4th of July, 1776, 10 past 5 in the afternoon, Philadelphia. This is known as the Sibley chart. It's a very widely used and popular chart. It's the chart I've used all the way through my astrology career because it's so accurate. So Mars is conjunct the Mercury of the US as the country. And Mercury in that chart rules the 7th house and the 9th house. So this is suggesting some quite angry words happening in the US around about that date, 19th and 20th. We all know 20th is a very big day in the US. It also, Mercury ruling the 7th and the 9th, this is to do with foreign relations, and it can also, the 9th house, be connected to legalities. So we will see what unfolds then. But of course, that is the day of the inauguration on the 20th. And the Sun, I understand the inauguration is always held on the 20th of January, to my understanding, and it's always at noon. Now, any chart that you cast for noon local time will be at the top of the chart. And so here, the Sun is very, very tightly conjunct Pluto. They are both in Aquarius. The Sun is at 0 degrees 53 of Aquarius. It's just entered Aquarius, and Pluto is at 141 degrees of Aquarius. Now, this is the first new moon. Coming on to the new moon in a moment, but this is the first time the Sun has been conjunct Pluto in Aquarius, apart from January 2024, when they were conjunct then. But since Pluto has entered Aquarius fully on November 19th last year, 2024, and it will stay in Aquarius until January 2044, so 19 years from now. This is the first time since Pluto's been fully in Aquarius that we have had a Sun-Pluto conjunction since 1798. 1798. And we know that last period, in fact, historically, if you go back with every cycle of Pluto and Aquarius, I've talked about this ad infinitum, but the 1777 to 1798 period, when Pluto was last in Aquarius, saw seismic changes in society. We had the American Revolution, we had the French Revolution, we had the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. You know, you can go back to my previous videos and I've talked about this at great length. So this is going to be very interesting. And so at the top of the chart, we have the Sun and Pluto tightly conjunct on the day of the inauguration, January the 20th. And I don't want to get into the detail of that chart because I don't want to add to any polarization, but this is clearly a very powerful day. It sets the beginning. It's the first note, if you like, of the beginning of the new administration. And it signals radical action, radical change, and a much more kind of high-tech administration. And that's, without understanding the astrology, I think you probably come to those conclusions yourself. That's all I want to say about that. I just don't want to add these are astrological comments. They're not political comments. I have no political views, particularly on the US. Any disrespectful comments will be deleted. Okay, I just don't want to get into that. We're heading for unity consciousness, and we're not going to do that by going via the tit for tat. So let us now look at the chart for the new moon, which is happening on the 29th of the month, 29th of January. It's happening at 4:37 Pacific and 12:37 UK time. So let us take a look. Okay, so this is set for England, as always. This is where I live, so ignore the clock face, ignore the houses. We're just going to be looking at where the planets fall in the signs and their aspects to each other. And as I said, I've got a lot to say here. So this is happening at 9:52 of Aquarius, 9:51, 9:52, when the sun and moon come together. See where 9 to 10 degrees of Aquarius is falling in your chart, because this is a new seed that you're planting. Always set a new intention at the time of the new moon. Perfect time in the month to set it in terms of what you want to manifest in your life. And do that by seeing which house area it's falling in. Is it your career, your money, your health? What is it? Because that will help you determine your intention that you're setting. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can download a free birth chart from my website, go to the link below, get a 2-part video series that you can watch forever that takes you from zero to understanding where these points fall in your chart and what these updates mean for you. This is not a personalized birth chart reading. These are teaching videos. So they will help you a lot, particularly if you're starting from zero. So this is a very different energy to the full moon in Cancer. The full moon in Cancer was incredibly emotional and intense and heavy, and quite rightly so, considering the tragedies we were seeing unfold at that time. This has a very, very different, faster, fresher, more transparent energy, I would say. And it really is kind of the ignition point of this major 19-year period of Pluto in Aquarius, where we're going to see a lot more Aquarian energy manifesting in our world. So this is to do with truth, awakening, communities, people coming together, honesty, galactic beings, aviation, huge developments in those. I just saw yesterday, somebody sent me a link because their relative is working on the development of I think it's called hybrid air vehicles, which are partly using helium to get the anti-gravitational lift to enable them to lift off much more quickly and travel at huge speeds and much lower levels of carbon dioxide and all the fossil fuel usage that has been involved in previous and current air transport. So this is exactly the kind of manifestation and innovation that we expect, because Aquarius energy, ruled by Uranus, the sky god, is very connected to innovations, scientific, technological, aviation in particular. There's going to be an awful lot about the out there, as I've said many times. The out there to do with the cosmos, new discoveries, galactic connections. I'm going to be talking to someone in just a few days' time who has superlative galactic connections and what that has meant for his work. And I think you'll find that really interesting. I want to surprise you with that one. So there's a transparency here, a freshness. Whenever we have aspects between Mercury and Pluto, and particularly here in Aquarius, the sign of truth, we see truth coming to light, secrets being revealed. And I think that's just going to be ongoing through this year. Many people are calling this the year of truth, the year of truth, the year of awakening, very Aquarian. It's also very revolutionary energy too. We are going to see a huge amount of protest and revolution as we move through 2025, and that's part of the establishment of the new earth and the new order, to accelerate the demolition of the old, the collapse of the old. And again, I've talked about that at great length in previous videos. Now, the lovely thing, one of the many lovely things here, is that we have Centaur Chariklo, wife of Chiron in myth. She's in a wide conjunction to this new moon, but nevertheless, it's a conjunction. And remember that she's the soul midwife that's there in transitions of life to death, transitions of consciousness. To me, she represents the Buddhist eternal silent state of being, that kind of warmth we can just drop into, that stillness and silence that is always there for us in any moment. We just have to shift our frequency. We have to kind of decompress to be held by Chariklo with that wonderful healing energy. Remember, she heals simply by her state of being. That's beautiful and very available to us at any time, particularly at this new moon, because of the conjunction. So we have a beautiful grand air trine between the new moon, sun and moon, Jupiter at 11 of Gemini, and Maki at 11 of Libra. So this is a very tight equilateral triangle, air grand trine. So air is all about new social developments, going to be new neural networks, new information systems, yes, for sure. So they are very much connected to Aquarius. So all kinds of new social media channels, new internets that are kind of censorship free, because Aquarius is linked to freedom, independence. Gemini is also actually linked to freedom and non-conformism. Jupiter is very much linked to the future, what we are sowing seeds for our future. And it's also linked, of course, to truth, to justice, to honesty as well. And Maki, you may remember, is the creator god of Easter Island, very linked to the Rapa Nui people. And Maki is a very powerful regenerative principle. You will remember me talking about how when the European sailors came in and brought disease to the island and chopped down all the trees and laid waste to the ecosystem there, and Easter Island, which is a tiny dot of an island in the Pacific, was really pretty much completely devastated. But nevertheless, from that point, they've been able to rebuild their culture, rebuild the ecostructure, the ecosystem, and start to thrive again. So a very powerful regenerative symbol as a dwarf planet for New Earth. And quoting Alan Clay, who runs the Dwarf Planet University, he talks about Makemake as the higher octave of Uranus and enabling us to set a new worldview, a new worldview. That's very much what this new moon in Aquarius is all about. Makemake also helps us to uncover an aspect of consciousness, which has always been there, but it's been hidden from us in our lifetime, many lifetimes, I think. So it's about birthing this new consciousness for New Earth, which is connected to the ancient wisdom of the Earth too. It's a remembrance of the shamanic procedures, rituals, and a reconnection to the Earth as Gaia, a living consciousness. So it's all of this new moon to me is just resonating with this birth of a new consciousness. Really beautiful. And Varuna is very powerful here too. Varuna, Varuna, is another powerful dwarf planet that is very tightly opposing this new moon. New moon at 9:52 of Aquarius, and Varuna is just about a degree away from that, almost 9 degrees of Leo. Now, Varuna is a Hindu creator god, and he helped to create cosmic order and punishes those who violate divine law and sacred law. So, all of these dwarf planets have such strong integrity and moral compass, all of them. And they are going to right the wrongs, as it were, take us back to the right balance. Makemake is in Libra, the right balance, the right cooperation and fair harmony, really. Harmony with Earth and nature, which we've lost. Makemake is also square here, tightly square to Kwawa, dwarf planet Kwawa. And so we have to incorporate the mythology of Kwawa in this building of New Earth and new wisdom and new consciousness. And Kwawa, you may remember, is about emerging from the chaos. Yes, a price has to be paid for the chaos, but never trying to manifest from the chaos, but coming together in community. Remember, Aquarian energy is very linked to community, coming together in community and creating joy through song and dance, coming together through song and dance to create something magnificent from that higher frequency. That's where we manifest from, that higher frequency. We also have Nessus, really tightly conjunct Saturn, now 1726 of Pisces, Saturn 1709 of Pisces. They're just minutes away. And Nessus, as you'll remember, is the buck stops here. And Saturn is very much about limits. We're at the end now. Nessus, I've talked about the mythology before. It's very linked to gaslighting and blood and the immune system and death. But it's also about absolutely the buck stops here. We're just not doing this anymore. So there's a strong, incredibly strong feeling of endings and beginnings, particularly reinforced by the North Node being at the very last minute here of Pisces. It's literally just moved from 0 of Aries into the very first minute of Pisces. So this is the very last degree, last minute of the zodiac. And remember that the nodes move retrograde, they move backwards. But the North Node is in this conjunction with Venus and Neptune. And this says to me that we move forwards with unconditional love from this point on. We move forwards with unconditional love. And they are in a quindicile, 165-degree aspect to Makemake. So it's this obsessive in this uncovering of consciousness, which was always there, but is almost being rebirthed as a new consciousness, this ancient wisdom being rediscovered. this obsessive connection, we have to do this, also being connected to unconditional love. I mean, these are beautiful, beautiful messages coming through. Also, just to pick up on Uranus here, Uranus is coming closer to Sedna. That is going to be a very big moment in a few months' time that I've already mentioned in my Metamorphosis for Humanity video, but we are already operationally within that conjunction now. Now, Uranus is drilling down. It's slowing right down because it's going to move direct the day after this new moon. So it stays at 23 degrees of Taurus all of January, all of February, and up until the 13th of March. It stays at 23 degrees of Taurus. So if you have anything round about 23 degrees, 22 to 24 degrees of Taurus, but really any of the fixed signs, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, you are going to be feeling this as a kind of restlessness, agitation. I want more freedom. I want to break the stale patterns. I want something new. I want variety. I want to break out of the tram tracks. It's an agitation or restlessness. It's to do with awakening to and going beyond what you have already subconsciously gone beyond, as it were. It's just making that manifest. And so the urge for freedom, for independence, for truth, for awakening is super strong at this time. This is the last time that Uranus will be at 23 degrees of Taurus in its cycle for another 84 years. And it is also within minutes of that very important Jupiter-Uranus conjunction that we had on the 20th of April, 2024, that was all about this new awakening. So it goes stationary direct on the 30th, but we feel that stationary position magnified several days to either side. So again, what can we expect? We can expect more seismic activity, more big winds and storms. Uranus is connected to big winds and storms and earth changes in general. It can be cyber attacks, it can be power outages, big shocks and surprises, galactic connections, all of that kind of thing, very related to Uranus. The energy is going to be faster, as I say, more rapid technical developments all the way through. And all kinds of innovations. I've mentioned previously that on Facebook, I post pretty much every day some incredible innovations from school children, some of them, who are taking waste from one area and just transforming it into something useful in another area. It's just stunning. They're not in video form, so I can't share them. In that sense, they're articles, they're written articles. But if any of you are on Facebook, you can easily follow me on all of those. So don't forget to set a new intention for this new moon. It's a very different energy. We're going to have, it's interesting that although Mars is incredibly strong here, and in the ways I've outlined at the beginning, we don't have any other fire energy here. We're moving much more into water energy with Pisces. Mars is also in Cancer, of course. As we move into February and early March, we have a lot of water energy coming in. So, but more of that later. And in terms of the Aquarian energy, just in the last couple of days, in fact, several people have sent this to me, and I highly recommend to every single one of you that you listen to this. You may have come across it already. It's called the Telepathy tapes. And you can get it free on various audio platforms like Spotify, like Apple Podcasts. Very easy to find. I'll put the link for the website below, the Telepathy tapes. And essentially, this is documentary research into severely autistic, largely non-verbal young people who were thought to be disabled or handicapped or less than the rest of us, and often put into, special homes or drugged or, awful, awful things, really sidelined in society. And this research is uncovering that these people are operating at a genius level. They are super processors. They are savants. They're calling them savants, the wise people. And I don't want to spoil the surprise, really. I mean, there's so much in these, because series of, I think they're 8 episodes already, and they last between 40 to 50 minutes long. You can listen to them when you're having your shower, making your food, whatever. I just devoured them. I couldn't stop listening. And they are thrilling on so many levels. I mean, episode 6 is particularly delightful, I have to say. But all of them, listen to all of them, because I've been anticipating, as you know, that when Pluto went into Aquarius, we would be in paradigm-shattering times. The telepathy tapes are one big step into paradigm-shattering times, because they're starting to shatter our understanding of consciousness in so many ways, on so many levels. And there's a lot more to come from this research. I think new episodes are coming out every couple of weeks. So this is so Aquarian. Firstly, it's Eris. Nobody will be sidelined. Everybody will have a voice. Eris has been in a very strong long-term square to Pluto. This is now coming good. Every voice has to be heard. And these severely autistic, nonverbal people, I think, are turning out to be our teachers. We're the ones who are limited. They have much greater multidimensionality than we do, and access to, as I say, many different dimensions of consciousness, apparently, if you follow the research, than most of us do. It is absolutely, honestly, I just devoured them today. And so they're very, autistic people in a way are very linked to Aquarian energy, because Aquarian energy can appear to be emotionally detached, but actually these young people have massive hearts and a massive amount of love. They are genius. They operate out of the box. They are peripheral on society. They don't fit in. They're outsiders. They're mavericks. They're kind of strange ones that we've thought of in that respect. But Aquarius is also linked to higher mind. And these incredible young people have a whole telepathic network globally, actually. So they are going to teach us so much. And I think this is just the absolute beginning of this particular aspect of having our paradigm shattered, in terms of what we are going to learn, partly through these amazing people, about consciousness, about our divinity, and about our cosmos. We are just at the start of a 19-year journey, but boy, that was a big ignition point for me today. So I'll put the link below, and then off you go and you can explore. But really exciting in terms of what is being revealed in this research documentary. God bless. I hope that's been helpful. We are into whitewater rafting from this moment on. So don't forget to book stillness meetings very regularly with yourself. God bless. Bye for now. I'll be back in just a few days' time with something very different that I think you will enjoy. Thanks for listening.